Hi guys, and welcome back to the Black Gold Homestead. In today's video we're going to be giving you some updates, and I'm going to be talking about some gardening and crops that can go into winter and livestock, and just giving you some updates. So this is the youngest rabbit that we have at the moment. This one is from a litter that was born probably around a month ago, or a little over a month ago. And the mom only had 2 kits in the litter. Both were all black like this. The one didn't make it, and so we only have 1 baby. But the dad is a mixed breed male, and he's right behind you there, and he has straight ears, but the mom is a mini lock. So it'll be interesting to see with age whether or not the baby's ears flop or not. But as you can see, as of the moment, the baby's ears are upright. But one does flop a little bit, so we'll have to see how it turns out. But the baby's doing good, getting big, growing well, and doing great. So the rabbits, now that it's been getting colder, we still feed them the same food that they normally get, which is a Timothy alfalfa pellet, and they also get hay and fresh water. But we've been adding in, if I can find a good example, here's one. We've been adding into their feed, and it's a little hard to tell, but they get their pellet, but they also get a handful of corn. They get some sunflower seeds, and there's none in here, but they also get whole oats. And that helps to keep the weight on the rabbits during the winter. It also helps when they are doing their fall molt and growing in their winter coats after losing their summer coats, and it helps their coats come in real nice. And like I said, it keeps weight on them, and they do really good with that added feed in the fall months. Yeah, but some of them, like the mom in here, she doesn't really like sunflower seeds. As you can see, she leaves her sunflower seeds and doesn't eat them. So she has a whole bunch in there. But sunflower seeds are high in oil and protein, so that's something to think about if you're feeding your rabbits and they're outside when it starts to get cold. So if you guys remember from our previous videos and our intro that we posted back in August or early September, the end of August we got 2 ducklings, and if you look right here you can now see that they're not ducklings anymore. They're quite large ducks. This breed of duck is the Pekin. The Pekin is a dual-purpose heritage breed of duck. They can be used for egg and meat production. And these 2 that we have here, the smaller one in the back is a dram or a hen, and the one in the front is a drake or a male. So that's a pair there, and she should be laying late winter, early springtime, and we'll be getting eggs off her. And back here we have our older hen. She's about 3 years old, but she still lays quite well, and her name's Snow. So we have the 2 young ones and our older hen. We'll have 2 hens and a male, and we'll use them as our breeder ducks to hatch out more. But in case you guys didn't know, if you listen closely, the male here closest to us has a raspy, hissing quack that's very airy and light. That's how you know they're a male. The females are the ones that have that traditional loud quacking call. The males don't have it. Also, the males will get a drake feather in the back as they age and get older, and that's the curly Q feather on the back of their tail. So I'm going to let you all listen to them for a minute, and you can hear the difference between a male and a female. Now, as far as feeding the poultry goes on the homestead, I give them pretty much a whole grain feed, and I'll show you what that looks like. I make sure that when it's cold, I try to feed them twice a day now. And I give them pretty much a whole grain feed. I've been switching all the animals over to whole grain, and that works pretty good. This mix here is 4-part mix, and I'll get you a closer look at it. But I'm running low on one ingredient, but there's still a little bit in here. This has whole corn, whole oats, black oil sunflower seed, and it also has, let me find some. It also has laying pellet feed. And they do really good on this mix. I give it to my chickens, I give it to my ducks, I give it to my guineas, and I give it to my turkeys. And I don't have any problems with them. They do good on the mix. It's high protein, it's high in oils, and especially in the winter, they do good on it. They lay well year round for me. And when they're molting, they come out of molt very quickly because of the extra protein and oils in the sunflower seeds. And then coming towards us, you can see one of our older ducks. She's a Muscovy hen. Now, Muscovies don't quack, but the Pekins do. All right, now I want to give an update on our baby chicks that hatched a few weeks back, and we'll see how they're growing and how they're progressing. There's our guineas, and you can see there's one young one in there. That was a hatchling from earlier, about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. There were 4 of them, but we had some freezing rain that killed 2. And then the cat ate the other one. So we're down to just 1, and it's doing good, and it's really healthy. So now we'll take a look at the chicks and see how they're doing. So we're going to take a look at the chicks in here, and then I want to show you the surprise animal that we brought home. But right now I have 2 batches of chicks going. This batch here, actually I need to move today into this other pen because they're growing up and taking up more space. But these are egg-laying hens. Well, they're straight run. I hatched them out here on the farm, so they're straight run, but they're egg-laying hens. And then these ones are also egg-laying hens, but they're more dual-purpose. These ones are mixed with bantam, so they'll be for egg-laying, but they can't really be used for meat. They're a bit small. But these ones are larger breed chickens that are better suited for meat as well. And some of the breeds in here, we have a we have 2 Americana crosses. We have a blue one and a black one. We have some Marron crossed with Chanticleer, and we have 1 Bantam cross, which this hen's gonna attack me because she is, yeah, she's a pretty good mother. But I want to show you real quick. These chicks are the same age, but I want to show you this. This chick here, if you take a look at it, let me stick them in a bucket. Lock them in. Okay, so we have 2 chicks in here. The big, and this one can fly really good, and so can this one. But this bigger one, and this is what I'm talking about, the dual-purpose chickens. This big one is a Cuckoo Marron crossed with a white Chanticleer. And you can take a look at it and see it has a much more meatier frame for being the same age. So this is a dual-purpose bird. It can lay eggs and it can be used for meat. And this one is a white leghorn bantam. They're smaller, smaller frame, less meat on them, but they are highly productive egg layers, small white eggs. So this one, if it's a hen, will be kept for eggs, and this one, if it's a hen, will be kept for eggs. Unless it's a rooster, we'll probably end up butchering it. So you can just see the difference between the breeds and the size difference there if you get a top view. egg layer versus meat bird. And these are heritage meat birds. They're not commercial like Cornish chickens. But I'm hoping to get mostly hens. I don't know. I'll see what I get. Now, the feed for these, I give them a chick starter. But since they're already getting feathered out, I've been starting to add in some oats and sorghum to start transitioning them onto a whole grain diet. Now in this pen we have some more bantam leghorns. They're good layers, and there are a total of 4 bantam leghorns in here, and then there's 1 Malaysian Sarama chick. Those are my bantams that I breed, and they are, now this hen's pretty nice. The Malaysian Saramas are a true bantam. They have no large fowl counterpart, and they're the smallest breed of bantam chicken. And I got 1 in here. Here it is. And I'm excited about this one because it is a blue shoulder, which means that has blue points on it. So it's a white chick, and it has blue shoulders. If you look up here, blue coming in there. It has blue flight feathers, tipped in white, and it has a blue tail. So it'll be interesting to see how it feathers out as it grows older and how it looks. But this one is a Malaysian Sarama, and they are such a small little chicken. Very nice. And this one, like I said, is a Sarama, and I want to compare it with a another bantam chicken, the bantam leghorn. So here's a bantam leghorn, and here's the Sarama. You can see the leghorn is a good bit bigger, even though it's the same age. It's actually a few days younger than the Sarama, but it's a lot larger because Saramas are so small. So these will be new laying hens. Some of them will probably be butchered. The males that are extra males, if I can't find homes for them, they'll be butchered. And then the Sarama is a pet breed of chicken. And then the new animal that we have, the new addition, is a rescue. And it's going to be a pet. We're not going to eat it. And he is right down under here, probably sleeping. There he is. That is our new pet. That is Biggie the Piggy. And like I said, we'll be keeping him as a pet, and I think I'm going to be using him probably to try to work up the garden some and see how that works out. He came from the Humane Society, actually. He came into them, and my dad ended up bringing him home, so he's going to be a pet pig here on the homestead. He's coming around. He's still a little bit skittish, but he is coming around. Alright, now we're going to look at some of the other animals, and we'll give you an update on them. So in this pen here, I have some more of my chickens. The 3 white ones are my leghorns, and they are my egg-laying chickens, and I've also been using them for breeding, and I've been hatching out some chicks from them. And then in here also with them I have a pair of Golden Sea Bright bantams. The male is closest to us, and then over to the right is the little hen. They're all doing well, and they're on the same feed mix as the other chickens. Over here I have my 2 Malaysian Sarama roosters. These are white ones. I hatched these out this spring, and one of them we're probably going to be selling, but we'll be keeping the other one. They're doing good. All of the goats are doing good. I have one of them bred for middle of March kidding. So we'll see if she goes into heat again, then she didn't take. But if she doesn't go into heat, then she did. So we should have baby goats next spring. Here is what one of the leghorn eggs look like. They're a medium white egg, and this one looks pretty good. Medium white egg. That's from our leghorn chickens. There is our little Sarama rooster. Now, Saramas are a very small chicken. They're a small bantam breed, and you can, that's how big he is, very small. And then in here we have our two grow out birds. We have a golden pheasant grow out and a guinea grow out. Okay, so in here, as you can see, these are our two turkeys, and we haven't showed them before. They're rather recent additions to the homestead, but we got them the same time we got the pig, and so they're new to the homestead, but we're not new to having them. We've had turkeys in the past, and these turkeys I'm going to be using, there's a pair here. There's a tom and a hen, and these are heritage breed turkeys. And this one's the tom. Oh, settle down, buddy. Here's the tom here, and I want you to get a very close and careful look at him and his... Oh. Settle down. Big birds to control. Okay, I want you to get a close and careful look at his feathering on him. He is what's considered a chocolate turkey, and I'm very excited to have this breed because as far as heritage turkeys go, there's a couple different breeds. There's black Spanish, there's blue slate, there's red bourbon, there's royal palm, there's Narragansett, there's a couple different breeds. And then there's the chocolate. The chocolate is a very rare breed of turkey, very hard to find, and I'm excited to have them. And I'm going to be using these as breeders to hatch out more to help save the breed, hopefully, because like I said, they're kind of rare and hard to come across. But here's a good look at his feathering, and you can probably tell why they're called chocolate based on the coloring of the feathers. And then I'll let you get a closer look at the hen. Well, there's the tom. And here is the hen. Oh, she's probably gonna fly off. There's the hen. She's a bit smaller, but she should hopefully be laying next spring, and we'll be getting eggs to hatch from her. Now, as a bit of history, the chocolate turkey was originally common down in the U.S. South, from what I understand and what I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But they were common down in the U.S. South pre-Civil War. When the Civil War started coming around, they were only a few numbers left. And the breed population got down pretty low. And I'll let you take a look at them. The breed population got down pretty low. There wasn't many left. And what was left, a lot of them were exported to France. And from there, going into the 1900s, and then the 21st century, the breed was pretty much lost in France because the hybrid turkeys, the broad-breasted, the double-breasted meat turkeys that we see today took over as the primary meat birds, and the heritage breeds were lost. So this breed was pretty much thought to be extinct in the U.S., and in France they were extinct as well, until sometime in the late 70s, a breeding flock of these turkeys went up for sale at a flea market in Pennsylvania, and the breed was rediscovered from there. So that's just a little bit of interesting information that I researched and found out about them. They're said to be more prolific egg layers than some of the other breeds of turkeys, so we'll see how that pans out, and we'll keep you updated on them and how they grow and how they progress and how they work out here on the homestead. All right, now we're gonna go give an update on the garden. You look like your mama. Okay, so now we're standing in the garden, and if you look on the ground, it's starting to get some weeds growing up in it. And then if you pan to my right, this way you'll see our tomato plants, which are completely, pretty much more or less dead now. The leaves are dead, died back. The tips of the stems are dead. There is still some life in the stems further down, but they're done for the season. Last Friday and Saturday night, we had our first two hard frost that did a lot of damage. We had frost as early back as middle of September. We had some light frost in September, but it wasn't enough to really damage the plants. They were still going and producing. But now we've had enough hard frost to where they're dying back and they're about done. If you look at the fruits on these tomatoes, you can see that they were completely decimated by the frost, and they're just shot. But their green tomatoes are still good and hard, and we can use them if we pull them off. Now, I want to talk about crops that you can plant in the fall that I've planted and are still alive and growing well, that you can winter over and they will grow into the next year, so you'll have some form of fresh produce year long, depending on where you live. Now, the first thing is Jerusalem artichokes. And there's a couple of small ones here at the very edge of the garden, and you can see the spent flowers on them. Now, Jerusalem artichokes are a perennial flower, and they don't only have flowers on them, but they have tubers. And I don't know if I will be able to really accurately show you this, but here's one that's died down. The stems turned black. So I'll be able to show you this one if I can pull it up. Now, these are small ones, and if you keep digging you'll find more, but they do get tubers on them, and that's just a very small tuber. They can get easily 10 times that size, and they're very productive perennial plants. I divide them every fall, and every year I end up with more and more and more. I have them in flower beds, borders along the house, in the garden in several spots, and these are a great one. You can harvest them from the time in fall when they die down. Once they look like this, they're ready to harvest. And you can harvest them all the way up to the following spring when they start emerging and growing again. Something else about the Jerusalem artichoke is not only people can eat them, but I feed them to the rabbits. The rabbits eat the tubers, and I'm going to be feeding it to the pig as well. And I also give it to the goats on occasion. So that's my first plant that I want to shout out and mention that you can grow during the year-round and harvest off it into the winter. The second one's kale. The second crop is kale. Kale is a biennial. That means it grows its first year, and then in the second year after overwintering, it flowers and goes to seed. And I have a couple of kale plants I had some red Russian kale and lanzanato kale, but I pulled it out because they don't overwinter as well. But here is some Siberian kale. I've been harvesting off of it. And don't mind the weeds in this area. But here's one of the kale plants. It's quite tall and big, and it has a decent amount of leaves on it. There's another one right here below it. And there's several others further back into this area. So they're a nice one. You can harvest off them all winter long, and as the frost hits kale, the interesting thing is that they actually become more sweet. The leaves aren't as bitter, and they're better to eat. The second green that I wanted to mention is Swiss chard. Depending on where you live, you may or may not be able to get Swiss chard to overwinter for you. Here it's hit or miss. A mild winter it overwinters, it comes back, but a harder winter it won't. So right here you can see the Swiss chard. And I have a roughly 20-foot row of it. I have a lot of spinach and stuff going to seed, so it's kind of looking like a mess, but this is the Swiss chard, and it still looks great for us having so many frosts. And I feed it to the chickens, I feed it to the rabbits occasionally, I feed it to the pig, I feed it to the goats. We can eat it, and it's great to feed pretty much everything on the homestead. It's a great green to grow. And I did want to mention real quick, I have beans in here. These are purple bush beans, and the funny thing is, they're still loaded down with a lot of beans, even though the greens, the leaves on the bean plants died. There's still quite a bit on here. But I'll be letting them go to seed. And I do have a volunteer pea plant that came up, and I have radishes that self-seeded and are coming up as well. And they'll probably reach maturity. They take about a month to mature. So we'll be able to get one more harvest off of those. And then if you look here, you can see peppers. There's some more peppers I can pull, like this one I can pick. But the tops of the plants have been killed back from the frost. And then that leads me to the other 2 or 3 crops that I like to grow that can overwinter and you can keep during the winter in your garden. Alright, so the next crop is turnips. And this is a really nice looking turnip here. It's nice and plump. And it's perfect size for harvesting. I planted these in mid-August, and it's now middle of October. And they only took 2 months to grow. Actually, there's only 3 left in this row. The other ones I've harvested. This one here is a small one, and then there's a bigger one further back. But there's a lot of weed pressure. But turnips are nice because they can overwinter in the garden. They take frost and cold really well, and you can eat the roots, or the roots here. And a big one this size can make a decent meal. And you can also eat the greens. The greens on them are edible as well. And if you don't like the greens, the animals will. So turnips are the 3rd plant that I want to mention. And then the other one I want to make note of is carrots. And my carrots kind of got weeded out by weed pressure. But you can kind of see down here, these carrots were also planted in August. And if you look very closely, they're already getting decent size on them. I don't know if you can see where my finger's pointing or not. But, see my finger? There's the carrot already starting to form. And these will continue to grow through the winter. They're frost-hardy plants. You can harvest them during the winter, depending on what size carrot you want. And then you can pick them right through next spring. And then that leads me to the final crops. I don't have any in here at the moment, but the other 2 crops that I have grown before that can grow through the winter and you can harvest through the winter are spinach and, what's it called? Ooh, I can't remember. spinach and arugula. Those are two other greens that are cold hardy. They can take the cold weather and they can grow through the winter. So I hope you like those little ideas of things that you can plant in the fall to get you through the winter in your garden. Of course, if you live somewhere really cold, you can always put some garden fabric over them and keep them kind of protected when the really cold temperatures hit. And you can pull them out and harvest them like these turnips. They can stay in the ground all year. Just pile up some straw around them and that'll keep them from freezing. And you can harvest them. You can harvest Jerusalem artichokes, kale, Swiss chard, and it gives you some fresh garden produce year-round. So I hope you like that little garden segment. I hope you like seeing the animals, seeing how they're doing, the updates. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.